Equality and diversity. What is equality? Equality means equality of opportunity. We must also ensure that those who may be disadvantaged can get the tools they need to access the same fair opportunities as their colleagues. Everyone deserves to be treated equally, fairly, and with dignity. At its core, equality means fairness. We must ensure that individuals or groups of individuals are not treated less favorably because of their protected characteristics. By becoming aware of the existing barriers that exclude people and by working towards removing them, organizations can become more effective at changing our communities for the better. What is equity? Equity recognizes that historically, certain groups of people with protected characteristics such as race, disability, sex, and sexual orientation have experienced discrimination. The Equality Act 2010 is an Act of Parliament of the United Kingdom with the primary purpose of consolidating, updating, and supplementing the numerous prior acts and regulations that formed the basis of anti-discrimination law in Great Britain. The Equality Act 2010 is a UK law that protects individuals from discrimination in the workplace and in wider society. The purpose of this act is to eliminate unlawful discrimination, harassment, and victimization, and other conduct that is prohibited by the Act, advance equality of opportunity between people who share a relevant protected characteristic and those who do not, foster good relations between people who share a protected characteristic and those who do not. The Equality Act 2010 in the UK has had a significant perceived impact on society and the workplace. It legally protects people from discrimination in various areas, including employment, education, and access to services. Everyone in Britain is protected from discrimination, harassment, and victimization under the Equality Act 2010 in different places such as work, school, housing, and other premises when using transport or services like restaurants or hospitals. You are also protected in clubs or associations, or when you're involved with public bodies such as your local council or government departments. Who has responsibility under the Equality Act 2010? Government departments, service providers, employers, education providers, schools, colleges and universities, providers of public functions, associations and membership bodies, transport providers. What is diversity? Diversity is about recognizing differences. It is the mix of people you have. It is acknowledging the benefit of having a range of perspectives in decision-making and the workforce being representative of our young people. Diversity is understanding, accepting and valuing differences between people, including those of different races, ethnicities, genders, ages, religions, disabilities, and sexual orientation. It is also accepting differences in education, personalities, skill sets, and experiences. Diversity plugs the talent gap for businesses and the society. Diversity doesn't just benefit the business, but it also benefits the economies they operate. Diversity and inclusion bring us all opportunities to learn from others and grow. By working with people from different backgrounds, with different experiences and working styles. Diverse views make for better decisions and thus drive a high-performance culture. If you actively promote equality and diversity, your organization will thrive, and people of all backgrounds can come together and achieve success. Managing diversity. Ethnic and cultural differences. Differences in languages and communication. Generational and age differences. Respecting and accepting the differences of others. Resistance to change. Issues of diversity, unexamined assumptions, mistrust and tension, lower cohesiveness, stereotyping communication problems. Consequences of not managing diversity and inclusion. Adequately discrimination, straining employee relationships, damaging productivity, illegal and costly. Dealing with diversity and inclusion. Challenges: identifying and defining the issues that exist within the workplace. Developing, communicating and adhering to organizational policies. Providing employee diversity training relating to those issues. This can benefit an organization in a number of ways, including increasing productivity, retention and engagement. holding people accountable for their actions. Inclusion. Inclusion is where people's differences are valued and used to enable everyone to thrive at work. Inclusion is where you have a collaborative, supportive, and respectful environment that employees are able to know that their contribution matters, and this increases the participation of all employees. An inclusive workplace has fair policies and practices in place and enables a diverse range of people to work together effectively. Inclusion is about you and your colleagues' experiences at work. Why we need to work with diversity and inclusion. Commitment for the support of diversity is so important and makes excellent business sense. Improve managerial decision-making. Diverse employees can provide a wider range of creative ideas. Diversity can increase the retention of valued members of the organization. Best practices for diversity and inclusion. Teamwork and collaboration. A focus on innovation and creativity, organizational flexibility, responsiveness, and agility. Conflict resolution. Processes that are collaborative. Leadership's commitment to diversity. Representation of diversity at all levels of the organization. Diversity and inclusion training. Representation of diversity among internal and external stakeholders. A company needs to have diversity and inclusion as its mission, strategies, and practices to support a diverse workforce and leverage the effects of diversity to achieve a competitive business advantage. Belonging is hardwired in our brains. Research in neuroscience and psychology shows that our need to belong is a basic human characteristic, and the pain of social exclusion is felt in the same receptors as physical pain. It shapes behavior. We will be guided by our sense of belonging more than the stated rules. Belonging is about commitment, from the employer to the employee, from employee to employer, and from colleagues to each other and to the business and communities they serve. Not only does it result in greater engagement and creativity in the workplace, but it's also a psychological need. Unwanted conduct related to a relevant protected characteristic is prohibited. Harassment may occur if someone behaves in an unwelcome or uninvited way towards you, which is related to one of the protected characteristics, and which has the purpose or effect of creating an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating, or offensive environment for you, or violating your dignity. Harassment may be deliberate or unintended and cannot be justified. Harassment violate dignity or subject someone to an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating, or offensive environment. Types of harassment: insults, name-calling, offensive language and gestures, making inappropriate jokes or banter, subjecting someone to unwelcome attention, ridicule or humiliation, gossip or spread of rumors, sexual harassment or inappropriate physical contact, or unwelcome sexual approaches, spying or stalking. Sexual harassment: less favorable treatment for rejecting or submitting to unwanted conduct of a sexual nature related to sex or related to gender reassignment. This also occurs when unwanted behavior related to a protected characteristic violates your dignity or creates an intimidating, degrading, hostile, offensive, or humiliating environment for you. However, it doesn't necessarily need to relate to your own protected characteristic. For example, you could be harassed because of jokes about gender reassignment even though you are not transgender yourself. Victimization is when someone is treated less favorably as a result of being involved with a discrimination or harassment complaint. Victimization may occur if someone is treated badly because they have made an allegation of discrimination, harassment, or victimization, raised a claim of discrimination, harassment, or victimization, given evidence in relation to a claim of discrimination, harassment, or victimization, taken some other form of action in connection with the Equality Act 2010. Ways someone could be victimized include being labeled a troublemaker, being left out, not being allowed to do something. Victimization is a specific type of discrimination under the law, Equality Act 2010. It is different to bullying. Type of unlawful discrimination: direct, Direct discrimination means treating one person worse or less favorably than another because of a protected characteristic. There are three types of direct discrimination. These are when it happens to a person who has a protected characteristic, sometimes called ordinary direct discrimination, or has a connection with someone with a protected characteristic, also called discrimination by association, and is thought to have a protected characteristic when they do not, which is also called discrimination by perception. Indirect discrimination happens when a practice, policy, or rule applies to everyone, but it has a worse effect on people who share a protected characteristic. For example, if a school had a rule against Afro hairstyles, this could be indirect discrimination because of race. By perception is where the person does not actually have the protected characteristic, but is perceived to have it and is treated less favorably because of it. By association. Discrimination by association is a type of direct discrimination, which is also known as associative discrimination. It means discriminating against someone because of their connection with someone who has a protected characteristic, for example, a family member, friend or colleague, or a group of people who have a protected characteristic. If you are making a complaint of discrimination or supporting someone who is, then you are also protected from victimization. This means that people cannot treat you unfairly. For example, if you were dismissed from your job because you made complaint about sexual harassment at work, this would be victimization. If you are disabled, you have more rights, such as the rights to reasonable adjustments. The protected characteristics, age. This refers to a person belonging to a particular age, e.g. 50-year-old, or range of ages, e.g. 16 to 30-year-old, and treating that person less favorably for reasons relating to their age, whether young or old. Disability. This refers to a physical or mental impairment that has a substantial and long-term negative effect on a person's ability to carry out normal day-to-day activities. Gender reassignment. The process of transitioning from one gender to another. Gender identity refers to the way an individual identifies with their own gender, e.g. as being either a man or a woman, or in some cases being neither, which can be different from biological sex, i.e. they, them, marriage and civil partnership. This can be defined as a formal union between two people, same-sex or different-sex persons, as recognized by law. Same-sex couples can have their relationships legally recognized as civil partnerships. Civil partners must be treated the same as married couples on a wide range of legal matters. Pregnancy and maternity. Pregnancy is a condition of expecting a baby. Maternity refers to the period after the birth and is linked to maternity leave in the employment context. Protection against maternity discrimination is for 26 weeks after giving birth. This includes treating a woman unfavorably because she is breastfeeding. Race refers to a group of people defined by their race, color, and nationality, citizenship, ethnicity or national origins. Religion or belief. Religion has the meaning usually given to it, but belief includes religious convictions and beliefs including philosophical belief and lack of belief. Generally, a belief should affect your life choices or the way you live, for it to be included in the definition. This feeds into a wider conversation around cultural sensitivity. Sex. Treating a person less favorably for reasons relating to their sex, i.e. male or female. Sex orientation. A person's sexual attraction towards their own sex, the opposite sex, or more than one sex. Types of bullying. Ridiculing a person, shouting or screaming at a person, setting up someone to fail, e.g. withholding necessary information or deliberate work overload. Preventing individuals progressing by intentionally blocking promotion or training opportunities. Deliberately excluding, isolating, or ignoring an individual. Banter in a workplace is allowed, but if it goes too far, it may become bullying or harassment. The term refers more broadly to an intellectual framework for understanding how various aspects of individual identity, including race, gender, social class, and sexuality, interact to create unique experiences of privilege or oppression. What is an ally? An ally is often defined as someone who is not a member of a marginalized group, but wants to support and take action to help others in that group. Allyship in the workplace is crucial for inclusion and equality. An ally doesn't necessarily mean that you can completely identify with the experiences of injustice of the oppressed group, but it does mean that you will stand with them and for them in the face of discrimination. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.